Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Wilson, here with my good friend and co-host, Adrian Wright, and this is The Supernatural and Beyond. Well, given the days, times that we're living in, there's so much going on around the world, and it's kind of given everybody a little bit of pause to think about, hey, is this what they were talking about? Is this Judgment Day? Is this the wrath of God? Is this the end days? Well, the short answer is yes. It's all of the above. It's being wrapped up. Time and space as we know it is culminating into the very, very end. Now, in past generations, people have often wondered, hey, well, how's all this going to happen? Because some of it's already happened before, you know. So the best way to kind of phrase this is like a woman giving childbirth.
Right.
Okay, because, you know, once the water breaks, then the labor starts. And sometimes labor is really quickly split. Sometimes it goes on and on and on and on, you know.
Hours, so, 36 hours even.
Yeah, it's just an amazing thing. So one of the things that's kind of helped me to kind of piece all these things together with my studying of the scriptures, the Hebrew scriptures, from Genesis to Revelations, is that there's a lot of information out there. And so it's being put together a little at a time so that we can go ahead and see what's really going on. Like with the but with the liberation of the children of Israel from Egypt,
yes,
Moses came in and said to Pharaoh, the most powerful nation in the world at that time, it was a superpower.
Right. Yeah, superpower.
Said, let my people go. And this is what I believe is happening with all of the plagues. And if you're not familiar, read the Exodus story. It's recited every year through the Passover service so that you will see the different plagues that came about. And if you just look at the newspapers today, in Africa, the locusts are like on the move eating up everything.
Yeah.
We've got
plagues, we got famines.
Yeah, exactly.
Wars, rumors of wars. You know. Lots of disinformation out there, you know, and it's like, who do we really trust? What do we really look into? And like you were saying, Tony, that I really liked is, you know, we dig in and we look at the ancient Hebrew text, we look at the scriptures, and we try to put the pieces of the puzzle together and see where we're at.
Definitely. And one of the key events that happened on the face of the earth was the Messiah, better known as, well, in English-speaking countries, Jesus. And it wasn't just about him coming, dying for sins. I'll give you just a little brief history on that word sin. Mm-hmm. It's an old English term in archery that says when you miss the mark.
Right, when you miss the mark.
When you miss the mark. And what happened in the Garden of Eden? Adam and Eve missed
the mark.
Yes.
Huge miss.
Huge miss. And so it's just been propagated throughout all of time so that here we are today. So the thing of it is, what the Creator, Yahweh God Elohim, wants to do, he wants to restore us back to fellowship, just like it was before the fall in the Garden of Eden. So just before he left and before he returns, he gave us a set of instructions. And those instructions, I'm just going to reference it. You can look it up for yourself. It's Mark chapter 16, 15 through 20. And it just basically tells and spells it out what we're supposed to be doing now in order to restore that peace, that fellowship with the Creator of heaven and earth.
Right. And then to briefly touch on it, part of it said, then when he said to them, as you go throughout the world, proclaim the good news to all of creation.
And that's I like that phrase, good news.
Yeah.
Because, you know, so far as we're concerned, there's a heaven, there's a hell.
Right.
And the good news is we can go to heaven.
Yeah, the good news is, you touched on it, is that the Creator wants to have that relationship with us that restores us to what was lost before the original sin. So that kingdom realm, that heavenly realm has now been opened, and that's the good news, or the gospel.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's not being taught, not being shared. Now, don't get me wrong. I use the terminology of the day, but I generally stay away from what's been categorized as Christianese.
Yeah.
They have their own vocabulary. which they use amongst themselves. But if you're not within that circle,
You don't know what it means.
exactly, so speaking just plain English, relationship versus religion.
Yeah.
That's what the Creator wants for us.
And I always try to stay away from religion because it seems like it's a set of rules or a set of terms.
Don't do's. Yeah.
Yeah, that man created. And it's like you have to be really careful because the relationship that's looking to be restored, the good news is that connection with the Creator, not the connection with man. I mean, we see man every day and nobody's perfect. Man's corruptible.
Yeah.
Man fails. You have people that lie, people that tell the truth. And it's like God's trying to cut the middleman out.
Yeah, cut to that.
Yeah, God's cutting the middleman out and he's like getting rid of the laws. Like God's like, no, I'm the Creator. I want that restored with my people.
Right.
I want every person to be able to connect like independently with God. That's the good news.
The good news. One of the things that you mentioned was the law.
Yeah.
That's when we think of the law, we think of courts and judges and juries and lawyers and all that other kind of good stuff. Good reference. However, what the law, when Moses came down, Moses came down off
that's
the mountain,
law. Yeah.
it wasn't so much the law, but the translation in the Hebrew, I believe, is instruction.
Instruction. Okay. I've noticed in my studies too, it's also called the revelation.
The
The revelation of God.
Uh-huh.
The revelation given to Moses.
So back to what we're saying, relationship of who it is and its instruction, like in the Garden of Eden.
Right.
All of this you can eat, don't eat that, and if you do, there's a penalty for that. Okay, moving right along, what Yeshua gave us in the very beginning, before he left, went to heaven, he's coming back, no doubt in my mind, he's coming back, all the signs are pointing towards it. It says, whoever trusts and is immersed will be saved. Whoever does not trust will be condemned. I mean, he laid it out. Again, like in the Garden of Eden, the day you eat, you will die.
Yeah.
He just completely laid it out. But the key thing is, for me, is that whoever trusts, and trust implies, once again, a relationship.
Right.
You and I trust each other,
Right.
because we've had time we spent with each other, and like
We've known each other for 5 years.
whatever it
Something like
is.
that.
I'm not good with dates sometimes. But the thing of it is like, I can trust you. If you say you're going to be someplace at a certain time, you're there, done. Don't even have to worry about it, And the word immerse is what we have been traditionally taught as baptism. I don't know if everybody's familiar with baptism. You go to a body of water, and there's a couple of different ways that it can be done. Either the person, an elder, a pastor, can lower you in the water and then bring you back up, symbolic of
Dying
dying
and coming into new life.
New life.
It's symbolic.
Resurrection. In addition to, water has been a term of the world. It's also been a term of punishment, as in Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Flooded it out.
But also cleansing too.
See, so there's so many different meanings.
Because you clean yourself with water.
If we get stuck on just one term, things don't quite go as we
plan.
Yeah, it's just amazing how that all of these different terminologies. That's why I like to study, do the research on the history and the words and so forth and so on. So it's, again, spelled out very plainly.
Well, what I like about what you said too about immersed and the word baptize, and I don't know if you know this, but the word baptize came from baptismo.
Baptismo.
And that was a Greek recipe for making pickles.
Pickle?
Yeah, because you take the cucumbers and you immerse them into the vinegar and salt, whatever it is that pickles them, right? So it was in an ancient recipe for making pickles, turning cucumbers into pickles, and that's where the word baptism came from. So that's what it means when you get baptized or you get immersed. You soak in it. You soak in the water. You soak in the cleansing power of the living God, and then you come out of it and you're a different being. You went in a cucumber and you come out a pickle. You know? That's where the actual word came from. Very interesting stuff, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a new one for me. That's definitely a new one for me.
Yeah. You'll never look at baptism again.
Never again. Yeah,
but that's where it came from, making pickles, the pickle recipe. So moving right along, after the baptism part and trusting and then being condemned, the next part is, and these signs will accompany those who do trust. In my name, they will drive out demons.
Isn't that interesting? The first thing on the list is driving out demons. Now, we've talked about heaven and hell.
Yes.
Angels and demons.
Yes. Demons,
giants and so forth and so on. One of the topics that we had was, are we alone in the universe? And the answer is no.
No.
There are other, what I call celestial beings. A lot of people refer to them as angels, but that word angel is translated as messenger.
And also spirit.
Spirit. Didn't know that one either.
Yeah, because you have good spirits and you have bad spirits.
Yes, we do. Right? Yes, we do.
Yeah. So you even have, the Spirit of the Living God, Rokadesh, Breath of Life, Holy Spirit. It's a lot of interesting things that go in with just that verse, because we talked about where demons came from.
Right.
In our other series below, Angels and Demons and stuff. And what's interesting is in his name, in the name of the Messiah, and with trust, we have that power to drive demons out of people.
Now, if that ain't some Harry Potter stuff, I don't know what is.
Yeah, well, this is better than...
But yeah, it's real.
It's real, and it's powerful.
Real. It's very powerful. Definitely. Yeah,
and then the times of the Messiah, the ancient scribes and Pharisees and Sadducees, they were always trying to do exorcisms. And even you see the Exorcist movies and the old Catholic stuff.
Right.
They were always trying to figure out how to do it. But it's all right here. Trust in the name of the Messiah.
And that's what's going to give us the power and the ability to do these supernatural and
signs.
Beyond things. That's the beyond we're talking about. It's present for us right here, right now, for all of us. Not just, this guy over here, that guy over there, but for just right here, you and me.
Well, what it says is to those who trust.
Trust, back to the relationship.
So you got to have that relationship and you got to trust, and it's got to be a full trust.
Right.
So that's huge. And then I guess the next part is they will speak in tongues. Well, right? That's another miraculous sign.
Yeah, that's another sign, and it requires just a bit of explanation as to what it is. What it is, it's direct communication between those that trust, those that have a relationship. They are able to speak in what's known as a heavenly language.
Yes.
And that heavenly language is an unbreakable code between the individual and the Creator himself.
Right.
The good angels, the bad angels, the demons, nobody understands but the Holy Spirit, the Father, and Jesus himself.
Right.
They are the only ones that understand what that is. And for myself, in the mornings, I like to get up and just start my day with okay, let's get the instructions for the day.
Yeah.
Just like a job, they say, we want you to go here, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. And when I do that, especially in tongues, as opposed to just in the English, it's the Holy Spirit orchestrating and asking for specifically what I need. I don't even know what I need before the day begins.
Yeah. And what I like is when you look at the Holy Scriptures, Paul, he talks about it, and he says it's mysteries between us and God, but God knows what it is, exactly what you're saying. And it's very interesting stuff. It really is. So as we go deeper, there's so much more to this that we need to take a look at. And I'm just glad we have all this information. So let's come back for part 2.